All right, guys, welcome to Ministry Matters. We have our awesome guest, Pastor Daniel Ramos from New Life Church Southwest
Let's go.
in the house. I'm excited to share with you guys his amazing story, what his ministry is doing, and what he's so blessed to do every day in our community. But before I do that, I just want to remind you guys to support Covenant Coffee. They have supported our podcast, and they also have a new location called Cloud9 by Covenant Coffee. They're serving some of the best brews, ice cold brews, hot brews, all for you. But we'll just start from the top. Daniel, you've been in the ministry for years. You have kids, all this awesome stuff. But first, would you tell our audience what you're most thankful for right now and what's hard in your life?
Okay. So what I'm most thankful right now is where God has me. I mean, just being obedient and being able to be the hands and the feet for him, be able to be out there and, just do his work. And with having a family and all that, it's been tough but it's so motivating at the same time. What's been super hard is just, daily battles, sin, all the things that hit us every single day, and just being able to claim victory over all those situations.
Right on. And for me, I'm most thankful for right now, my wife is starting her classes at BC, and she is just killing it, doing awesome. My son just got his driver's license. I'm super thankful for that. I would say what's hard in my life is just patiently waiting. I'll tell you, if you ever want to serve in the ministry, you're going to have these moments where you will just be waiting for God to say, okay, now is the time, but it's super good to serve, All right, Daniel, what areas in our community does your ministry cover? You're a youth pastor, but where do you reach? What are you hitting right now?
Right now, we're hitting, all levels of youth. We
From what ages? Like
from 7th grade to seniors in high school.
Oh, wow.
So junior high and high school. So we hit all areas. Right now, we want to show our youth that they mean something. What they want to do, it matters, and we give them the tools, we give them the opportunities to serve in the church. We have what's called the youth takeover, and we love the youth takeover. Yes.
So tell them a little bit more about youth takeover, because I'm just learning about this youth takeover thing. And it's pretty cool to watch in a church, and this might be something your church will want to do someday. Go ahead, tell them about that.
Yeah. So youth takeover is we're giving the youth an opportunity to go and serve in our church. We give them an area. We have a leader. So we do parking lot. Okay, we have a leader in parking lot. We have a team of youth that want to volunteer and serve in that area. They help with parking lot. We have greeters, right? People coming in. Parents love seeing our youth, their faces. So seeing youth holding up their signs, greeting them as they come in, showing that love. We have a coffee team. They're helping people wake up in the morning. All these things. We have kid life, for the little ones. Sometimes when they go in there, they hang out and they volunteer and they just serve the house. That's what you take over is.
And I'll tell you, like, you would think your teenagers are just going to church, but I know even this Sunday I got the opportunity to minister to the youth in there, and afterwards they were asking me like, hey, how do I serve with the children and this and that? And for me, my kids, when they get to serve in the church, I think it's when they really get to experience the love of God, like pouring through them in a big way. So that's awesome that you guys are doing that.
Yeah.
So when you say 7th to senior year, like what high schools and junior highs are you seeing coming in? Where are these kids from?
Oh, we're seeing them come from all over Bakersfield, different areas. They're reaching out to their friends. They're reaching out, and we're just giving them a location, and they're showing up. They're from Ridgeview, awesome. They're from Centennial, they're from East High. We got kids from, all over, even kids coming from Lake Isabella, even to Hatchapee, different times. Yeah.
And I believe it. So New Life has always had a youth group that is on fire, because even when I was a teenager, my mom used to drive us all the way from Taft
Mhm.
to New Life
Right.
Southwest to go
Mhm.
to the youth group. So I believe it. That's
Yeah.
awesome. You guys are reaching a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right. So the people want to know. Tell us your story, because just like me, I wasn't born into the ministry.
Yeah.
Something had to like happen before I was able to jump in and be in the ministry.
Yeah. So I grew up right here in Bakersfield, California. I grew up on the east side. I grew up most of my younger days were just skating. I grew up as a aggressive inline skater in Bakersfield, and I mean, I started, the gang life hit me, before that, and I feel like God, He put that on me. He's like, I'm going to keep this kid busy with something
That's awesome.
better than just the gang life, because I was getting into that, and once I found rollerblading, I went with it. I took off with it, and that was the one thing I did. And as I grew, I didn't grow up in a religious home. I we never went to church, none of that. But I did have this one aunt, and she did go to church, and she was obedient to God. And I always felt this calling in my life, like there is just something stirring up
That's so cool.
right in here. I don't know what that is, but once I hit rock bottom in my life, the first thing I did was I called my aunt and I said, "Hey, can you pick me up and take me to church with you?"
Wow.
And she's like, "Okay." And she was there to pick me up on a Wednesday night, took me to church with her. And then that's when I got saved.
What?
The Holy Spirit came in and got me. And it's been a roller coaster ride ever since.
How old were you when that happened?
I was actually an adult. I was 19 years old when that
19.
happened. I was 19 years
Wow.
old, a young adult. Yeah, when that happened. And I was in and out, I was learning, but I was learning how to follow, being obedient more than anything. But I was on the fence, I was living in the world, and I was following Christ. But I always felt this calling and this God pulling me over, saying, you gotta be over here, and it wasn't until about April 2022 when God gave me this word. He said, you need to be committed. It was one word: be committed. The word was committed. So at that time, I've always been a big kid at heart. At that time, I decided, well, the youth director at that time approached me and she said, do you want to volunteer and help us in the youth ministry? And I said,
yeah,
sure, because I know I'm being called to something. So I want to do, I'm here to serve, because I'm naturally a servant,
So this is the cool thing, like, because a lot of people want to join the ministry,
right.
But I've got to tell you, there is the secret sauce to being in the ministry. And the secret sauce is God has to call you.
Mm-hmm.
If you've heard his story, this part, you've got to like hone in on this part of his story, because you heard a word from God, commit. And that it sounds like that's what just started leading you into this.
That just what started leading me into this. Yes. He gave me that word commit. And after that, in the workforce, everywhere I was at, I said, I'm 100, I'm sold out for Christ. I'm all in. I'm 100% in. Anything that I was doing, I'm doing it with the heart. I'm doing it with the full heart, not just a piece of me. So when I got invited to show up at youth ministry, I did it I walked in, I said, man, this is heavy, but this is where God is calling me.
Gosh.
And I've been there, and I didn't want to be just a body. I said, put me where you need me, right? Use me, but God, use me where you need me. And I was able to help, mold, form, just be a part of this youth ministry. I did not know that I would become youth director or youth pastor, but God did know something, and I'm just so grateful for it.
I think that's core too. Like my friend Pastor Al Martinez, he says this pretty often. He says, if you want to be used by God, be prepared to be used by people.
Yeah.
And like what you said about God, just use me where you want me. I'm sure what that looks like is a leader or a pastor being like, hey, could you help me here? right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and you said, sure, I will help you. Cause that's what you had been praying, right?
Yeah. That's what I've been praying. Yeah.
Man. So how did you transition from just being a helper in the youth to actually taking the department and leading the charge for the kingdom?
So I was obedient. I was committed. I kept showing up, just showing up. Yeah, I didn't hesitate. When I see our youth and they're troubled, I don't hesitate to jump in and say, man, I'm with you. I'm walking with you. I'm fighting with you.
Yeah.
And once my leaders seen that, and God started speaking to our next gen pastor, and God started putting this on her heart, like, we need a man to be in this youth ministry, not only to help it, but to run it, to mold it, to build it up. And we need someone solid. And she approached me, and God gave her,
What's her name?
Pastor Kim Torres. Yeah.
Okay.
Pastor Kim with New Life Church. Yeah.
Awesome.
She was sitting there, and I was talking
That's
to
a
her.
shout out for you, Pastor Kim.
Pastor Kim, love you. So I was sitting there, and I was talking to our youth, and she was kind of staring at me, but she had this like, I was like, she's not even listening to what I'm saying, right? And later on, like, I found out, well, she calls me and she said, hey, when you were talking, God spoke to my heart and said that you're going to be the next youth director and youth pastor. And I'm at this point, I'm driving in my truck, and I'm like, what? Like, okay. And I know she's anointed, and I know if God puts it on her heart, like, I believe that, you know, and I've been praying for that. But I love how God does that. He hits you when you least expect it.
Amen.
He hits you, and that's how it happened. I least expected it, and it was more than just a title, and it still is just more than just a title. It's a calling, and it's where God wants me, where I need to be at.
I think that is like key too, man. Like, you didn't like chase it and say, my goal is to be a youth pastor someday. My goal is to be, because sometimes you can get caught up in that title and you forget who you are because you're chasing a title. Yeah. And that's like the worst thing you could do. So that's awesome that Pastor Kim like spoke into you. Yeah. Because I think that is a core part of like how you were able to grow, as people were speaking that, like Pastor James spoke into you.
Yes, he did.
Those things that like brought you out. And I'll tell you, like, he is all in. I think your inline skating is really the key element too. Because I think if you're a sender, which if you're in inline skating or any kind of extreme sport, you can't hold back, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's foundation for sure. That's the way it's always been, is like, you don't hold back. Exactly, because you bike, and I think that's why we click so well together. But inline skate and just aggressive anything, any action sport, it just teaches you that you can really send it, like you said, and whatever you do, you don't hesitate, because you can't hesitate.
Oh yeah.
Well, especially if you're going for something that might hurt you.
Yeah, definitely. So inline skating, that's something another one of our guests, Ryan Abler, used to do. He's so proud of it. I know it. He loves it. Well, we got like all these things that affect our ministries. And I was trying to think of a question that really, maybe a lot of people don't have this perspective, but I think you have it. So you're in the ministry now. Yeah. You're rolling. Brandy's on board with you. How many kids do you have?
So I have 3 kids. I have a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
That's right. And I love that his 12-year-old is in the youth group.
She just moved up from 6th grade to 7th grade. So it's kind of weird having her in there because I'm not used to seeing her. So she's not used to seeing me. She sits right up front. I love it.
It makes it different when your kids are in there. Yeah. I get to go and speak every once in a while in there. Right. And I'll tell you, having your kids in the room, being youth, I think for me, it makes it more key. Yeah. Like the message. I'm just like, I'm hoping those kids get it, but I'm also going like, man, I hope my kids get this message I'm trying to deliver. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's actually been happening to me too.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they ask you about it later, and it's like, yes.
Yeah, she does. Yeah. The stories, the illustration, whatever it is. My daughter, I catch her like just looking, and I'll look at her like for a split second just to make sure. And she's on it. She's like,
Yeah.
she's paying attention. And I love that. I love seeing that.
That's cool, man.
Mhm.
All right. So this question, here it is. How has divorce and I'm not saying in all areas, I'm talking about divorce in church, in the church, because you got Christians. Right now, the numbers are that there's no difference as far as divorce goes inside the church and outside the church. People who are non-believers and people who are believers are divorcing at the same rate.
Mm.
How is that affecting the youth ministry? Like what moves do you have to make to kind of help that situation?
You know, when I when I look at that with divorce, it being a thing, you know, it's a thing that's happening, and it's a thing that unfortunately people have to go through, and also our youth have to go through, especially when it's happening under their roof at home. You know, what I've learned is to be there. You know, be there for them, to support them, saying, I'm here with you. You know, I understand to a point. I don't know how you feel, but I know someone that can help you. You know, and that's Jesus.
Ooh.
And so I try to push them closer to just know Jesus and let him be the one that helps get them through. You know, I'm just a messenger. You know, I'm just a person that can bridge that gap, right?
Do you ever have like the mom or the dad creating conflict in the youth group ever?
No, that happens more in kid life.
Okay.
More of the younger kids. That rarely happens in youth.
That's awesome.
Parents are pretty slick about that, but I always keep my eyes open to make sure. But there's many times where I can feel, and I know this parent is going through something right now. Maybe they drove over and they had a big argument. And some of the dads will come in, and I said, man, and I could feel it. And God's saying, speak to this person, just pull them to the side. And I do that. I do that with parents. And I said, hey, you know, is it okay if I pray for you? You know, and, you know, I want to, because it's more than just the ministry. We are here to build each other up and help each other out and support each other. So when I see that, and especially God is telling me, you know, he's showing me, and I'm learning to just recognize when people are hurting, you know, and because it takes one to know one. I know how to put it in my pocket and forget about it. You know, I know what that's like. And so when I see it, and now that it's not in my pocket anymore, I see it. Now I want to help. I want to do whatever I can, especially when it comes to our youth and their parents.
Yeah. You know, in men's ministry, it's so common now. I mean, there is even like group leaders and stuff that go through divorce, and I mean, it breaks my heart.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine how it breaks your heart to see those kids go through that. And I love what you said, that you introduce them to like God, because God is stable for them. You know, you give them something stable that they can count on every week. I love that, because I think that will affect those kids in a big way. I know for me, my parents were planning churches all over the place. So New Life Southwest Youth was our stable ground. Yeah. Like we knew every Wednesday, that's what we were going to do, even though every Sunday could be different. Yeah. Like we could be at the Apostolic Church or the Pentecostal church. I mean, we could be anywhere, any Sunday, but on Wednesday we were going to be there. So that's awesome, because I think that will affect them in the future, that you're creating that stability for those families that are broken. You're giving them a safe place. That's awesome.
You know, it's all about bring them in, build them up, train them, send them out.
Woo, all right.
That is.
Hang on. He's going to say it again, because you may have missed that, because this is one of those. Go ahead.
Bring them in, train them up, build them up, train them, send them out.
That's so awesome. I know a guy who says that quite often. Yeah. His name is James. So you guys have an event coming up. Tell us about this event. I guess it's called the Summer Bash, right?
Yeah. That's actually happening in a couple of days from now, on Wednesday, June 26th.
This Wednesday?
This Wednesday, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Awesome.
Yep. So Summer Bash is, for the parents out there, Summer Bash is specifically, we're built for your kids to come and to bring all their friends so they can hang out. We give them a place to just get to know each other, right? Nothing is more awkward than a kid like not knowing people and coming to ministry and not knowing. So we give them a place to come hang out. We're gonna have water activities. We're gonna have slip and slides. We're gonna have so many games. We're gonna have food. We're gonna have a DJ. DJ Richie Rich is coming out.
What?
Yeah, he's a brother at the church at New Life. He's going to come out with the music. We're going to have food, and it's just a place that it's just safe, and it's from 6 to 8 p.m.
All right,
Wednesday
that's
night.
awesome. So this Wednesday night at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
to 8 p.m.
Mhm.
Is there a cost to this event?
There's no cost.
It's
all
free.
free. Just
What?
come out, drop them off.
Okay, so like if you're looking for a date night, you
Yeah.
know, and you want to drop off your teenagers, this is the day.
This is the day.
This Wednesday.
Yeah.
And is it happening throughout the summer, or is it just this Wednesday?
It's just this Wednesday.
Okay,
it's
awesome.
just this Wednesday. It's for it's just us just kind of creating a place for summer and
the ages is seventh grade
to seniors.
7th grade to seniors can all attend this event.
Yep.
And you got something for everybody.
Yep.
I heard something about there being like a prize at that event.
Yeah, we are giving away a few prizes. One of them being a Nintendo Switch.
What?
Yes, yes, yeah. We're giving it, and we have Bluetooth speakers. We got a bunch of cool prizes we're giving away.
I heard them talking about it.
Yeah, if they're talking about it, that's good. So the kid that brings the most friends will get a ticket, and we'll be in line to win that Nintendo Switch.
Oh wow, my kids could possibly win it.
Yeah, it's very possible.
And I will 100% sell that.
Yeah,
Because we have 0 video games in our house. Even my son has a phone, and I told him like you got to delete those video games. And you know, like for me, I absolutely hate video games in my house. I know for you it's a little different. You're a youth pastor. When
Yeah.
I was a youth pastor, I had a gaming console in the youth, so I know.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about video games and kids? Tell us about that.
Surprisingly, I don't have video games. I never was hooked on them.
That's why I like you, bro.
outdoor guy,
That's why I
bro.
like you.
I'm an outdoor man, so I try to take the kids, hiking, try to take them swimming. Like we try to go bike riding, we go dirt biking, we go camping, we do all these things that just involve outside. But devices do, they slip in and they have their way. But I try my best to control what's being watched, just like every other good parent out there, right?
Yeah.
And and my kids, I also want to see how they're going to handle these type of having a device and having it. Are they going to handle it well? They're going to treat it good? Or they're going to are they going to watch all the right? They're going to try to watch all the right things or play all the good games. And so I try to give it to them and show them a little favor in that area. But I do watch them.
Right on. So you did celebrate something before we leave the air. You
Okay.
did celebrate something.
Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, I celebrated my my 11th year anniversary with my wife Brandy.
Wow.
Yeah,
11 years.
11
How long
years.
have you guys been
We've
together?
been together for 14 years.
14
Yeah,
years, and you're
yeah.
11 years
11
married.
years in. Yeah.
That's an accomplishment right there.
Yeah.
11 years. So, for you guys who are watching this show, if you could do us a favor, like, subscribe, see if I can say that right. And also leave comments, questions for us. We will go on there and do our best to answer them.
Mhm.
But is there anything you want to leave with our audience about like a message from a youth pastor? Just the general message, like to the parents, to the youth. What do you think?
Man, from a parent, but youth, they know how much you care and they know how much you don't care. From a leader and a pastor,
Mm.
you don't sugarcoat it. Be who you are, but let Christ lead you as a parent, as a leader, and allow him to come in and make the moves for you. For me personally, when I started doing that, I've learned that, man, I'm going to make mistakes as a pastor. I'm going to make mistakes as a leader. I'm going to make mistakes as a parent. But I know when I have God there to support me through it and get me through it, man, there's nothing that we can't do. Everything's possible.
That's so good. And I want to thank Josh Garcia back there, Mike Harvey, and everybody on the 511 media team for helping Ministry Matters come to you live this Monday. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. God bless and let God lead you.
God bless. Thanks for having me.